No, you cannot see my face this time. Um, so where were we, my friend?
Getting ready to start the Amityville. We were talking about the gentleman that owned the place first and was doing all the crazy shit,
Ah, crazy shit, yes.
in which we were talking about probably left an imprint on what was going on. So if you want, I can go ahead and start reading to get into it.
Yes, that would be very agreeable.
All right. Let's see. The Amityville Horror is a book by American author Jay Anson, published in September 1977, is also the basis of a series of films released from 1979 onward. The book is based on the claims of a paranormal experience by the Lutz family, but has led to controversy and lawsuits over its truthfulness. All right, let's go to the historical basis. This is kind of what we were hitting on at the beginning. On November 13th, 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. shot and killed 6 members of his family at 112 Ocean Avenue, a large Dutch colonial house situated in a suburban neighborhood in Amityville, on the south shore of Long Island, New York. He was convicted of second-degree murder in November 1975 and sentenced to 6 terms of 25 years to life in prison. DeFeo died in prison in March 2021. Wow, pretty recent. In December 1975, George and Kathy Lutz and their 3 children moved into the house. After 28 days, the Lutz fled the house, claiming to claiming to have been terrorized by paranormal phenomena while living there. Um, the plot. Let's do that one because that I have some viability here. The book describes the house at 112 Ocean Avenue as remaining empty for 13 months after the DeFeo murders. In December 1975, George and Kathleen Lutz bought the house for what was considered to be a bargain price of $80,000. The 5-bedroom house was built in Dutch colonial style and had a distinctive Ooh, where'd that come from? Excuse me. A
I'll think about
distinctive
it.
gambrel roof. It also had a swimming pool and a bathhouse as it was located on a canal. George and Kathy married in July 1975 and each had their own homes, but they wanted to start fresh with a new property. Kathy had 3 children from a previous marriage. Daniel 9, Christopher 7, and Melissa 5. They also owned a crossbreed Malamute Labrador. I've never heard of one of those. Dog named Henry. During their first inspection of the house, the real estate broker told them about the DeFeo murders and asked if this would affect their decision. After discussing the matter, they decided that it was not a problem. The Lutz family moved in on December 18th, 1975. Much of the DeFeo family's furniture was still in the house because it was included for $400 as part of the deal. Oh, wow.
Oh,
So,
they are so
I mean,
fun.
yeah, you're just kind of adding to the problem.
Yeah, kinda. By a
Uh,
lot.
the I mean, you're leaving that not only is the house cursed, but the furniture's there too. I mean, wow. I mean, I do believe that too, that items can still be that way.
And if a house can take on somebody's negative ass energy, what do you think that the items that were that the people died on and everything are gonna have?
Absolutely. A friend of George Lutz learned about the history of the house and insisted on having it blessed. At the time, George was a non-practicing Methodist and had no experience of what this would entail. Kathy was a
Swift kick in
non-practicing.
the ass.
Do what?
Swift kick in the ass.
Yeah. Kathy was a non-practicing Catholic and experienced the process. George knew a Catholic priest named Father Ray who agreed to carry out the house blessing. In Anson's book, real-life priest Father Ralph J. Picaro is referred to as Father Mancuso for privacy
Mancuso.
reasons.
I'm sorry, that's just wrong but funny.
Father Mancuso was a lawyer, judge of the Catholic court, and psychotherapist who lived at the local Sacred Heart Rector. Ooh, it's not a
Ugh.
good one either. I mean, just saying, Catholics are weird, but whatever. Not to offend. He arrived to perform the blessing with George and Kathy were unpacking their belongings on the afternoon of December 18th, 1975, and went into the building to carry out the rites. When he flicked the first holy water and began to pray, he heard a masculine voice demand that he get out. When leaving the house, Father Mancuso did not mention this incident to either George or Kathy. I mean, why? That's kind of something you need to tell somebody.
He was too busy getting the fuck out of Dodge.
Yes, getting the hell out. on
Close it,
December
bitches.
on December 24th, 1975, Father Mancuso called George Lutz and advised him to stay out of the second floor room where he had heard the mysterious voice. The former bedroom of Mark and John Matthew DeFeo that Kathy planned to use as a sewing room, but the call was cut short by static. Following his visit to the house, Father Mancuso allegedly developed a high fever and blisters on his hands, similar to stigmata. At first, George and Kathy experienced nothing unusual in the house. Talking about their experiences, subsequently, they reported that it was as if they were each living in a different house. I could see that. I mean, if it's that evil or cursed, I mean, you would
That's not.
get different experiences.
This is a full fledged on par. Like they're on unsanctified ground. To this day, it will still be unsanctified ground.
Right,
Something like this just isn't a simple fix. There's when you do something like this where it is consecrated, like where ground like that, this gets that kind of evil in it. It doesn't go away ever.
right.
It just doesn't.
Well, it's laid its claim. I mean, that's
It's more than a claim.
yes,
Anything that goes near that place that it meets that thing's qualifications for. I'm gonna take it. You're lucky. The people that were there that wrote the book that wrote what happened in the movies.
right.
Those people are lucky they got away.
I agree. I mean, like we were saying, I mean, whether it's, real demon or just imprinted, I mean, it's laid its claim. It's going to, I mean, it left the furniture. I mean, ugh.
Yeah, fuck that.
Fuck that is. Fuck that is right. Um,
I do not give a fuck.
no.
It ain't going. If there was said that there was a murder there, as I know this sounds sacrilegious to my other goth friends and everything that are probably going to hear this and then question me. Yes, I would say fuck that. I would burn this stuff. There's a reason behind that. I don't want that kind of energy around me.
No,
I've
not
had
at all.
enough negative ass energy in my life. I don't want it anymore.
Right. I don't need nothing influencing that more. Especially something like that. That's a lot going on and a lot to unpack to no, yeah. I watched that movie when I was younger, and because of that movie, if I were to go in and buy a house, that's one of the first things I'm going to ask. Was there a murder from here? Is there something crazy that went down?
Hey, you never know. Like that place could have been built, but the place that was there before that place was built, there could have been something that happened there, and we not know, and that the people that were building on it not know about it because of
Yes.
whatever reason. There
Yes.
are so many possibilities out there in the world that it is physically and altruistically impossible to be able to calculate everything.
Right.
So if you're going to be careful, yeah, go ahead, be careful. But like some things I wouldn't want to mess around with. And some people out there, they think that what they're dabbling in is not going to come back and bite them in the proverbial butt.
Yeah.
But
Or
if
think it doesn't exist.
no, it exists either way. It's manifesting your energy has been something that not only, let's just say right off the top of my head, Shaolin monks have been practicing, but there have been other practices within this type of practice that are touched on, like different types of monks. Like there's the Shaolin, there's the Tibetan monks, there's so many different like people that have been able to do these type of things, and I just totally lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
The Shaolins and the monks that are able to. I've done lost train of thought too. Jesus. It happened right in mid thought too. Jesus. Let's just read. We'll get more info.
Apparently.
um, by mid January 1976, after another attempt at a house blessing, George and Kathy they experienced what would turn out to be their final night in the house. The Lutes declined to give a full account of the events that took place on this occasion, describing them as too frightening. After getting in touch with Father Mancuso, the Lutz has decided to let's see, get a reposition. Lutz has decided to take some belongings and stay at Kathy's mother's house in nearby Deer Park, New York, until they had sorted out the problems with the house. They claim that the phenomenon allowed them there with the final scene of Anson's book describing greenish black slime coming up the stairs towards them, the staircase toward them. On January 14th, 1976, George and Kathy Lutz, with their 3 children and their dog Harry, left 112 Ocean Avenue, leaving all of their possessions behind. The next day, a mover arrived to remove the possessions to send the Lutzes. He reported no paranormal phenomenon while in the house. Maybe
Huh.
that's because he wasn't staying,
Possibly.
and the whatever is going on saw that he was making an effort to leave. I mean, this could be something that just doesn't want anybody around. It's to lay claim on what it feels like is theirs.
Yeah. Like
Um,
there are beings out there that will lay claim to something even if they have no right to it.
right,
It's not just a human trait. It's just something that every being does, I guess, at some point.
right. I mean, like we
Other
were,
animals lay claim to other animals of the same species territory all the time. They fight over it. They wolves, cats, elephants, bipeds, flitheads,
right,
and apparently the stupid.
and the stupid.
And that number is rapidly growing.
That's rapidly growing at an epidemic rate too. I mean, pandemic rate.
Mm.
Uh, the book was
Pretty,
written, huh?
pretty soon we're gonna have like too many ED treatments and too many hair treatments and not enough uh, research into curing anything but cervix can't like yeah, it's gonna be all sex pills and
Well,
hair treatments for medicine in the future.
we're
Well,
back.
if we get his pubes growing, maybe he'll feel better.
We're back to selling snake oil again. I mean, essentially is what's going on. I mean, people believe damn near anything that's on TikTok or, I mean, do some research. Like there was a thing the other day I saw on there about some on TikTok, and I ended up looking it up, and it was completely false. But they're just peddling these pills.
Oh, you said the magic word.
What, peddling?
Pills.
Pills. Yeah, true that. Let's see. The book was written after Tom Mossman, an editor at the publishing house Prentice Hall, introduced George and Kathy Lutz to Jay Hansen. The Lutzes did not work directly with Hansen, but submitted around 45 hours of tape recorded recollections to him, which were used as the basis of the book. Estimates of the sales of the book are around 10 million copies from its numerous editions. Hansen is said to have based the title of the Amityville Horror on Dunwich Horror by H.P. Lovecraft, which was published in 1929. Disputes over accuracy. Ooh. Sorry. Sorry. The role of Father Picaro, Father Mancuso, in the book has been given considerable attention. Father Picaro stated in an affidavit during a lawsuit in the late 1970s that his only contact with the Lutzes concerning the matter had been by telephone. Other accounts say that Father Picaro did visit the house but experienced nothing unusual. In 1979, he described his experience while blessing the Amityville house during an interview for the television series In Search of. I think I remember that show.
Yeah.
In the interview, he makes it clear that he did, in fact, enter the home and that he was slapped by an invisible force and told to get out by a disembodied voice. I think if that happened to me, I would probably jet too. Like, no, nope, nope, nope.
Yeah, most people would, but then again, most people are not the kind of batshit crazy I would inspire to be like.
I say I'm the opposite, I guess. I'm out. I'm not even gonna. I mean,
Not
I don't.
even going to intend to, like, even to anything but tuck, tuck and run, basically.
Be right.
I couldn't do that, my friend. Like, I'm fighting tooth and nail, and I'm not going down without a fight. I
So
want to belch.
my point of view on that is, I'm one that's very skeptical as far as spirits and stuff, or ghosts, or whatever you want to call it. But I'm also the guy that doesn't want to find out the hard way, because I do believe, like we were saying earlier, when nasty bad things happen, I mean, that kind of shit just don't go away, man. I mean, that's just the way it is. Um, Jim and Barbara Cromartie rejected the claims of physical damage to doors, locks, and windows. They bought the house for $55,000, equivalent to $266,000 in 2022. In March 1977, Barbara Cromartie argued that they appeared to be the original items and had not been repaired. The couple also revealed that the Red Room was a small closet in the basement and would have been known to the Lutzes because it was not concealed in any way. Local Shinecock, ooh, not a good name, Shinecock Indians rejected the claim made in Chapter 11 of the book that the house was built on a site where the tribe had once abandoned the mentally ill and the dying. See, that in itself, in my mind, is no different than when the Nazis were experimenting on the same mentally ill people. So if you were to go there, I just think it would be bad news.
Possibility, yes. Here's the thing, though, with places like that, it's generally not like what people would normally think of what a place like that would be. Like, there are places all around the world that, like, you would not guess that there's actually a pretty sinister happening behind it. Like, there's
Right.
places all over Europe that you would go to, you would be like, what?
Right. And see
Especially
that,
France.
I mean, yeah, man, you go anywhere in Europe, I think, I mean, they're thousands of years older than we are. A
Well,
lot of
I mean,
bad shit happened there.
bubonic plague.
Yes.
Most of Europe is covered in mass graves because of it.
And building somewhere, I mean, it's almost guaranteed you're going to build on something like some kind of land that was just cursed or shit on, however you want to word it.
Yeah, there's other places in the U.S. that have like bad reputations because of the land that they're on.
I believe that. Yeah. I mean,
Well, I mean, there's also places where that have been built because of that and some of the history that they're given a bad reputation, like Dodge City, Kansas. The Pope of the one of the former popes would not fly over it.
really?
No, they won't because of Anton LaVey's church being there, and part of it is also because of the massacre at the OK Corral. It's considered unsanctified ground by the church.
Huh. I did not know that.
Yeah. And then there's also the Bolivian butt chugs.
I haven't heard of that. What is that?
I don't know. I just came up with it.
Oh, nice. That's good reaction time. Researchers Rick Morin and Peter Jordan rejected the claim of cloven hoof prints in the snow on January 1st, 1976. Their investigation revealed that there had been no snowfall at that time. No neighbor reported anything unusual during the time that the Lutzes were living there. Police officers are depicted visiting the house in the book in 1979 film, but records show that the Lutzes did not call the police. There was no bar in Amityville called the Witch's Brew at the time. Stephen Kaplan and other critics have pointed out that changes were made to the book as it was reprinted in different editions. In the original hardcover edition, Father Piccaro's car is an old tan Ford, and he experiences an incident in which the hood flies up against the windshield while he is driving it. In later editions, the car is described as a Chevrolet Vega before reverting to a Ford. In May 1977, George and Kathy Lutz filed a lawsuit against William Weber, the defense lawyer of Ronald DeFeo Jr., Paul Hoffman, a writer working on an account of the haunting. Bernard Burton and Frederick Mars, both allegedly clairvoyants who have examined the house. Along with Good Housekeeping magazine, the New York Sunday News, and the Hearst Corporation. Lutz's alleged misappropriation of names for trade purposes, invasion of privacy, and mental distress. The claims against news corporations were dropped, and the remainder of the lawsuit was heard by Brooklyn District Court Judge Jack B. Weinstein. In September 1979, Judge Weinstein dismissed the Lutz's claims. In the September 17, 1979 issue of People's Magazine, William Weber wrote, "I know this book is a hoax. We created this horror story over many bottles of wine." This refers to a meeting that Weber had with George and Kathy Lutz, during which they discussed what became the outline of Anson's book. Judge Weinstein also expressed concern about the conduct of William Weber and Bernard Burton relating to the affair, stating, "There is a very serious ethical question when lawyers become literally agents." George Lutz maintained that events in the book were mostly true. In June 1979, George and Kathy Lutz took a polygraph test relating to their experiences at the house. The polygraph tests were performed by Chris Gugas and Michael Rice.
Gugas?
Yeah,
Gugas.
Gugas.
Wow. Gugas stuff.
Yeah. Who were reportedly among the top 5 polygraph experts in America.
Wow.
The results, in Rice's opinion, did not indicate lying. In October 2000, History Channel broadcast Amityville, The Haunting, and Amityville Horror or Hoax, a 2-part documentary made by horror screenwriter producer Daniel Farrands. The debate continues concerning the accuracy of Amityville Horror. The various owners of the house since 1976 have publicly reported problems while living there. James Camardi bought the house in 1977 and lived there with his wife Barbara for 10 years. He commented nothing weird ever happened, except for people coming by the house of the book and the movie. I mean, that doesn't mean that. I mean, if you live there for 10 years, I mean, who's to say it wasn't done? It just left, or I don't know. I'm not that familiar with these kinds of things.
It went dormant because of something else, possibly.
Possibly.
There's a number of factors there. Like, I don't know enough about this particular type of occurrence because I haven't got to go there and actually get a feel for the place.
Right.
There are things that would go on with that type of interaction that is harder to explain.
I agree. That's that's definitely something strange. But also, I mean, how long did the house? It doesn't really say how long the house stayed empty, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Because I mean, that in itself could be something too. I mean, and let's move on to the next piece. Trying to get this. Oh my God! I mean, look at this. This little.
Wow. Wow.
I've never experienced anything like this before, and they don't. My fingers are so fat that I can't hold it on there enough, so I had to put a little dab of glue. Anywho, um, the 1979 film based on Jay Anson's novel is the best known in the series. James Brolin and Margaret Kidder portray the couple George and Kathy Luce. The part of the priest who blesses the house, renamed Father Delaney in the film, was played by Academy Award-winning actor Rod Steiger. The first three Amityville films received a theatrical release, while the fourth film was made for television by NBC. The sequels from the 1990s were released direct-to-video and contain virtually no material related to Lutz family or DeFeo murders. Instead, they can concentrate on paranormal phenomena caused by cursed items supposedly linked to the house. One of the better known features of the Amityville horror films is the distinctive jack-o'-lantern-like appearance of the house, which was created by the two quarter-round windows on the third floor attic level. The windows are often illuminated in the films, giving the appearance of menacing eyes. The first three films were filmed at the house in Toms River, New Jersey, which had been converted to look like 112 Ocean Avenue after the authorities in Amityville denied permission for location filming. Although not all the films in Amityville Horror series are set at the former Lutz home on Ocean Avenue, the distinctive Dutch colonial house is traditionally used as the main image in promotional material. In 2005, a remake of the original Amityville horror film was released with the tagline "Catch 'em and kill 'em." referring to the claimed link between the house in Ocean Avenue and John Ketchum, whose name has been linked to witchcraft in Salem, Massachusetts, but remains a controversial and elusive figure. This version exaggerates the isolation of 112 Ocean Avenue by depicting it as a remote house similar to the Overlook Hotel in Stephen King's The Shining. In reality, 112 Ocean Avenue is a suburban house with 50 feet of other houses in the neighborhood. The house used in 2005 version was it was in Silver Lake, Wisconsin, while other location work was shot in nearby Anatosh, Illinois. The child character Jody DeFeo appearing in the film is fictional and was not one of the victims of the shooting by Ronald DeFeo Jr. In November 1974, George Lutz described the 2005 remake as drivel and sued the makers for breach of contract, defamation, and libel. He objected particularly to the scene in the film where the male lead, known named George Lutz and played by Ryan Reynolds. No shit.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yep.
Is shown killing the family dog with an axe. The film also shows the George Lutz character building coffins for members of his own family. The defamation claim was dismissed by a Los Angeles court in November 2005, while other issues related to the lawsuit remain unresolved at the time of George Lutz's death. The documentary My Amityville Horror was released in March 2013 and featured interviews with Daniel Lutz, one of the children who lived in the house during the period of which the book and films are based. Lutz echoes the original story as told by his mother and stepfather. He also makes additional claims that both he and George Lutz were possessed and that George Lutz demonstrated telekinetic abilities and strongly suggested that George's dabbling in the occult may have initiated the demonic events. Uh, I mean, I guess that's possible. If there was already some bad shit that went down there, I guess you fucking around with some shit
Yeah.
could wake it
That
up. I mean,
could, I guess. But, like, that is probably the least of their worries at that point.
yeah, I could see that. I mean, it's bad shit, man. I mean,
Yeah, either way.
all right, legacy. Kathleen Thurcia Lutz, October 13th, 1946 to August 17th, 2004, died of emphysema, and George Lee Lutz, January 1st, 1947, May 8th, 2006, died of heart disease. I'm sorry, I keep yawning. The couple had divorced in the late 1980s but remained on good terms. During the period in which the Lutz family was living at 112 Ocean Avenue, Stephen Kaplan, a self-styled vampirist and ghost hunter, was called in to investigate the house. Kaplan and the Lutz had a falling out after Kaplan said that he would expose any fraud that was found. Kaplan went on to write a critical book titled The Amityville Horror conspiracy with his wife Roxanne Sauch Kaplan. The book was published in 1995. On the night of March 6, 1976, the house was investigated by Ed and Lorraine Warren, a husband and wife team self-described as demonologists, together with a crew from the television station Channel 5 New York and reporter Michelle Linder of WNEW FM. During the course of the investigation, Gene Campbell took a series of infrared time-lapse. Get off there. Time-lapse photos. One of the images allegedly showed a demonic boy with glowing eyes who was standing at the foot of a staircase. The photograph did not emerge into the public domain until 1979, when George and Kathy Lutz and Rod Steiger appeared on the Merv Griffin Show to promote the release of the first film. Mm, 112 Ocean Avenue was also investigated by the parapsychologist Hans Holzer. The Warrens and Holzer have suggested that the house is occupied by a malevolent spirit due to its history. That's what I'm talking about. Let's talk about that. The Warrens' visit to the house was depicted in 2016, The Conjuring 2. George Lutz registered the phrase "the Amityville Horror" as a trademark in 2002 and is referred to as the Amityville Horror on his official website. Lutz claimed that the film producers embellished or fabricated events portrayed in the 1979 version and the 2005 remake. He also claimed that the producers of the 2005 film did not involve his family and that they used his name without permission. The house known as 112 Ocean Avenue still exists, but it has been renovated and the address changed to discourage sightseers from visiting it. The quarter-round windows have been removed, and the house today looks considerably different from its depiction in the film. The house in Toms River, used as the location for the first three films, has also been modified for the same reason. The 5 film version house address was changed to 412 Ocean Avenue. I mean, why don't you just change it to like 1005 or something? That's too close to me, I guess. The 2005 film remake says that the basement of the Lutz home was built in 1692, but 112 Ocean Avenue, also known as High Hopes, was built around 1924 for John and Catherine Moynihan. The local residents and authorities in Amityville, New York, are unhappy with the attention that the Amityville Horror brings to the town and tend to decline requests to discuss it publicly. The website of the Amityville Historical Society makes no mention of the murders by Ronald DeFeo Jr. in 1974 or the period that the Lutz family lived at the 112 Ocean Avenue. When the History Channel made its documentary about Amityville Horror in 2000, no member of the Historical Society would discuss the matter on camera. The episode of CSI New York, first broadcast October 31st, 2007, was a Halloween edition based on the Amityville Horror entitled Boo. It features a house in Amityville where a family has died in circumstances similar to the DeFoy murders. In May 2010, the house was placed on the market with an asking price of $1.15 million. In August 2010, the house was sold to a local resident for $950,000. October 21st, 2010, the departing owner held a moving sale at the house, and hundreds of people turned up for the event. They were allowed to go inside the house, but not to visit the upstairs rooms or basement. Huh. Someone live there now?
Guess so.
Wow.
I wouldn't want to. I mean,
No.
well,
Even if they're,
actually, take that back. Yeah, I might. I
you
might.
think?
I would have to feel it out though.
Man, I don't know if I would. I mean, like I said, I just don't want to take the chance that something might go down. I mean, like kind of like what we were talking about the Jersey Devil, there has to be something that happened. I mean, people just don't make shit up like this.
Not necessarily, but sometimes people get so depraved for something. But I don't think it's ever been like that. But people have done it for less, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean that's really a good point for sure. People have done it for less. I mean, sometimes it's just simple fact of getting, like you were saying earlier, 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of it's been known throughout history that both both males and females have gone after men and women for either riches or power or fame, whatever it may be, just because
Just because, yeah.
they wanted it, they were going to do whatever it took.
No matter what.
And some people don't want to pay what it takes to get a lot of that fame and that fortune. And it's too late by the time they realize it.
Right. That's crazy.
Uh,
I mean, the dude definitely murdered his family. I mean, that's fact.
yeah, but is it because of demonic voices that were sounding off in the dude's head, or was it because of something else? It's not that far fetched if you believe that it was a voice in his head, because from the like, it's a very primal thing to believe something like that because
Right.
it's terrifying to think about.
It is terrifying to think about. I mean, I mean, wow. I mean, that's a lot to unpack too.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot, but there's a whole lot worse out there too, though.
This is true. This is definitely true. I mean, there's been a lot worse things happen, but I do believe, like the guy that when it was built and they was doing crazy shit there. I mean, it's just somewhere that just get rid of it.
Well, not everything's as black and white as it seems. For one, like when you go into a place and that place is older than you are, and that being that is inhabited that place for so long, they have more sway in there than what you'd like to think. You can't
Yeah,
just walk into a place and start swinging your weight around, not even in the mystical world. There are like rules and regulations and everything. There are Yeah. So when you walk into a place and it's done like that, if it's not hurting you, you don't just go and provoke it by trying to banish it from the land. That's a good way to get yourself
Yeah.
hot water. There, yeah.
Stir shit up and make it worse.
Oh yeah, 10 times worse, 20 times worse. There's no endless possibilities of how many times worse it can be.
Actually, like
Yeah,
that. I mean, I am very unfamiliar with the. I mean, I knew of the murders, but I wasn't aware that when the house was built and the guy that lived there. I mean, it says right here that they were talking about the basement. The house was built in 1924, but the basement. Uh, oh, that was from the film.
yeah.
Real remake said it was built in 1692, but fact it's 1924. But still, that's still far enough back because for
Yeah.
crazy shit to go down.
Still, like with certain things like that, you might like when you're doing investigations with paranormal, the more stuff that they're saying that there's less that makes it like things you find out that aren't true, that kind of makes you lean away from that type of like that particular research material. Like
Right,
whoever's doing like the taking the notes for the person that was proven not true, you wouldn't read those anymore. You would go with the other ones.
right. That's. I mean, like I said, man, when you got some evil person doing evil shit,
Yeah,
I
but
mean, you
once
can
it's
only
done,
expect it.
you for there to be good, there has to be evil though.
Right. I mean, I
There's a balance to everything, man.
like the town I live in. I live in Marietta, Ohio, and this is the first settlement when they started moving west. There's big signs everywhere. There's big burial mounds and shit around here. And it's said that a majority of the land that this place was built on were stolen from the Indians and taken from Indian burial grounds. So I'm the person that sees these old ass houses and I'm like, man, I wonder what kind of weird shit went on there. And I don't want to know. You know what I mean? I'm that person. Like, there's houses here that were built in the 1700s, and it's like, or early 1800s. It was during this Revolutionary War, I believe. Yeah, and I mean, dude, I don't. There's some of these houses that are just super nice, but you can tell they're old, and it's like, I don't know if I'm want to, if I would buy that house. I haven't heard of anything weird, but I'm just saying.
Oh, like you just gotta go around the certain places, certain watering holes, if you catch my drift.
Yes,
Places where, like certain types of people like that are in society that would hold weight in society would go. Like where the cops go to drink and stuff.
right.
Those kind of places. And then you would want to go to a place like that's on the opposite end of that spectrum where all the criminals go and drink. You can find places like both like those, but be careful which ones you go to, man.
Yeah,
Like, yeah. Because if you go to the wrong one and you ask the wrong question, yeah.
they have I don't know how popular it is, but they have a ghost tour thing here where they'll take you to like places.
Well, that might be worth it.
I've never been on one, but I saw the ad one day and I was like, man, and it wasn't the thought of, man, I want to go do that. I went straight to, man, I wonder what kind of fucked up shit happened here, or that place, or for that to happen.
Well, there's a lot of things that factor into it. It's not just like the people that are involved in it. Like at that particular time, it could be someone that later on down the line was involved in that something like that was for. Like
Yeah, that is true.
there's a lot of shit that goes on. Like I mean, with magic, anything is possible in ways, and with curses, just as much as can go wrong or right with those. I just don't like to. I like to be on the opposite end as far as those go, and meaning I'm the one that usually gets rid of them for people. I don't like. I don't deal with the dark energy coming off of them.
Yeah, there's apparently a lot of weird shit here, but I don't know. Like I said, I haven't experienced anything like that. My house, I think, the house I live in right now, I think it was built in the 70s or something.
Uh,
But again, that, like you were saying earlier, that doesn't mean anything really, because the land could be just eat up with something.
uh, there's so many possibilities on
So
that.
many, so many possibilities, and they're all very interesting to me. Regardless if I believe in something like that or not, it's just very interesting to me.
Uh,
Um, let's see. So which one you want to move on to next?
that was it for the night.
Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, that would be it for tonight. All right, so with that, I think I'm gonna sign off here. Give me a second here. Get my camera facing me. All right. And with what I was going to say is, with that, I'll say good night. You guys have a good one. All right, Bradley. Good night.
Good night, man. Great night.
Yeah.